Good evening from my part of the world. Good evening from my part of the world. It's another Sunday. Let's have a conversation. If you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. If you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. Let's have a conversation. What life do you want? What agenda are you working with? So you don't just drift through life. If you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. If you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. Mhm. The world will choose a life for you, and that won't be what you want. And many a time you will just drift through this kind of life thinking that is it until you are 60 years and beyond. And when you turn around, all that will come to your mind is, how did I get here? I had a life. Why am I on this address? If you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. Wobɛnenam mu a ɛyɛ wo sɛ wobɔ wo bra, because that is what is societally accepted. Until the awareness hits you and you realize that this is not the life I wanted to live, because you chose nothing at the beginning. You had no agenda you were working with. So life became robotic. Sɛdeɛ obiara kɔ na ɔba no na yɛn nso yɛkɔ na yɛba. If you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. It is when you choose a life that you are able to craft an agenda to work with. But if you haven't chosen a life yourself yet, the chances are you are not working with any agenda. And if you are not working with any agenda, then you are just drifting through life. And when the awareness hits you, everybody might think you are succeeding big time, but your soul will come knocking at the door of your heart, telling you this is not your life. Many people drift through life, letting circumstances dictate their path. But as the saying goes, if you don't choose the life you want, the world will choose one for you, and that won't be what you want. This statement highlights a simple truth. In the absence of deliberate decisions, external voices, society, expectations, and even chance fill the gap. Who could school, high school, or even the university, and you knew of people who had so many friends around them that you considered as bad influence, and yet these people turned out so good. What should be that? All the people around them were living anyhow, but they had an agenda. And because they had an agenda, nothing distracted them. Nothing distracted them because they were working on agenda. They were working with an agenda. In the absence of deliberate decisions, external forces like society, expectations, and even chance fill the gap. The able to be an art, the baby an no plan, nothing. The able to in the an because of course if there's no agenda, then it also means there's no direction. Nti the able to in be an air fan ɛnyɛ saa na nyame bɔɔ me bebrebe yi ɛnyɛ saa whereby ɛnyɛ nyankopɔn na ayɛ. It is because we had no agenda. And if there is no agenda and there is no plan, then what are you working with? Life will just become robotic. Sɛdeɛ obiara kɔ na ɔba no, na yɛn nso yɛrekɔ ne yɛreba bi. Those who were working with an agenda, although they equally faced distractions, but they were able to eliminate all these distractions because they were working with an agenda. Yeah. So, in the absence of deliberate decisions, external forces, society, expectations, and even chance fill the gap. Chance fill the gap. My point is that choosing your own life path is essential because it gives you ownership of your future. Whether in marriage, whether in your health, whether in your finances. If you are futuristic enough, or you had parents or significant others who guided you as a younger person, abrabɔ no hyehyɛ si so, nti ɛkɔ easy. And now you've been a cool school, she had 5 years time out. Now be someone say, what happened? Yes. They had an agenda they were working with. They were not living their life to chance. They were working on agenda. They had parents who were futuristic enough. Couples that are triumphing are people that got married and they had an agenda. Nti ɛnyɛ yɛnkɔ adwuma mmra yɛmɛnua aduane nni na yɛnwo mma daabi. They will have an agenda. Onim sɛ in the next 5 years we're working on finances. Finances, this is what goes into it. In the next 10 years we'll do this. In the next 20 years, they were working on agenda. They were never leaving anything to an agenda, to chance. So my point is, choosing your own life path is essential because it gives you ownership of your future. It protects you from being shaped by pressures that do not reflect your value. And sometimes I always say, oh, hi, Eze, thank you for being on. Which Michia nipa bi out musinka nipa we de akadachi be in the next 5 years, 10 years, obey you nipa titru. You still meet them 5 years, 10 years, and nothing has happened. And this one is not any devil's fault. There is no agenda, there is no plan. Life just become robotic. So you live life to chance, and chances are nothing will happen. Those who are working on agenda, whether it's their marriage, whether it's their health, whether it's their finances, they are over the roof. Until we are sick, they are working with an agenda. Ne health, oh, ne finances, oh, ne relationship, oh, they are working on agenda. Or they are dream kasa ne nam. Until we are say, hey, no suko bio. Sani panu shia na brabon shisha ne fe. Their lives are so beautiful because they have an agenda they are working with. They are working with an agenda. Once you choose your own life path, you have ownership of your future. You are protected from being shaped by pressures that do not reflect your values and allow you to live with clarity rather than regrets. Ɔna wohyia no even akwantum na ɔkɔɔ kora onim sɛ in the next 10 years 20 years metena establish this, I'll move on in the next 2 years 5 years me start adwuma wɔ ha meyɛ adwuma wɔ 2 years megyae mɛkɔ school mɛyɛ start business mɛyɛ wei wahyehyɛ abrabɔ no wɔ dan mu ɛna ofi ase abɔ. So we all go through the same struggles, but you see these people and realize that no, there is clarity or mabraboni keke. Intentional decisions. One reason intentional decision making matters is that modern society is loud with expectations. Say neko so no be a tree. But those who are working on agenda, working with an agenda, they are not just living with the noise. It doesn't matter the noise around them. Onim sɛ deɛ wɔhyehyɛ n'abrabɔ n'afa. So no distractions. Obi a wari mfa ne ho po. And obi a wari spending so much money. Everything about their lives are on agenda. They plan and they work with their plan. They just don't do anything anyhow. Everything about them is intentional. From their health to their finances to their love life, everything is on point because they are working with an agenda. From an early age, young people are surrounded by voices telling them what success looks like, or what success is supposed to look like, what careers are practical, what dreams are realistic, even which paths can earn approval. When someone fails to make conscious choices, these external pressures quietly take over and begin shaping their direction. Nti nkɔnde onim sɛ wei na ɔpɛ sɛ ɔde abrabɔ no kɔ ɛnyɛ to ɔhwɛ na obi yɛ kɔ ha nti ɔno nso de mirika no di akyi. You just run in circles. You can never be productive. You can never go anywhere. You will never have your own life. As a matter of fact, whatever you have is not your life. It is something handed down to you, but you know it today until you hit 50 and beyond. A student who has passed or passion for doing a particular subject, now if a parent is sick or say yes science because we are passing so well, whereby no name your person or the even the general arts near. But when you have the courage to choose a path. So people are pushed into fields and into careers because they consider it safe or respectable. This does not mean any other thing is wrong. It means anything you don't actively choose won't become a part of your life. The results will be a life built on assumptions rather than personal conviction. So when the struggles of life begin, who need personal conviction? Be sorry, I can say, this is my decision, so I stand by it. Over time, this can lead to a quiet dissatisfaction, a sense of living someone else's dream. By contrast, when individuals pause long enough to identify what truly matters to them, they gain the ability to resist these pressures and craft a future that reflects who they are, not who the world expects them to be. Who they want to be, not the person the world expects them to be. Nti ne biribiara yɛ soronko. Ɔte ɔmmɔ abrabɔ no based on the noise happening around them. Yɛkɔ no no so could be no. They are working on agenda. They are working with an agenda. Nobody's noise pushes them. No. A second reason choosing your path is crucial is that drifting often leads to outcomes shaped by circumstance rather than purpose. Life has a way of filling empty spaces with the nearest available option. The nearest available option. So plan B anywhere. That is when the life is lived. left to chance. That is when life is left to chance. Deɛ ɛbɛsi biara na esi, deɛ ɛbɛba biara na aba, deɛ ɛbɛto no biara na ato no. Ɛkyerɛ so na ɔde akɔhwɛ ɔbonsam, a ɔbonsam nim ho hwee, because there's no agenda, there is no plan. So without direction, opportunities that require the least effort or the immediate reward begin to dominate. Oni agenda, oni plan bia, nti deɛ ɛbɛsafisi bia na odi akyire. Yɛkɔ ha na ɔkɔ bi. Yɛse wei na ɛwɔ so no akɔsua bi. Obi a ɛyɛ wei a ɔno nso akɔ sukuu akɔyɛ bi. Life has a way of filling empty spaces with the nearest available option. So once there's no agenda, the nearest available option is what is happening, what everybody else is doing. Then you also jump on board. Without direction, opportunities that require the least effort or the immediate reward begin to dominate. A colleague student unsure of their interest accepting a job offer after graduation will real school because that appears quickly, not because it aligns with their strengths or hope. Now, ɔkɔyɛ adwuma no plan bi ani hɔ sɛ bi a meyɛ wei for the next 2 years na me upgrade me start a business along the line nti ɔne ne mma no ani bɛtena 10 years sika no nso ne di koraa na waka wɔ hɔ. Not because it aligns with their strength or hopes, but because that was the immediate thing. That's what appeared quickly. So what begins as a temporary decision slowly turns permanent. Now, Brabonaka. Then years later, that same person may feel trapped in a career that never matched their potential. Not because they never chose that thing. They chose it, but there was no agenda, there was no plan. Until Chusu and Anokai, whereby those who had planned, those who were working with an agenda, equally made that choice, but it was just a stepping stone for them. Until she had 5 years, 10 years, we say we're marinating into a beautiful person. Ababona Shishaman. Not because they didn't choose it, they chose it, but because they never chose something else. They didn't know anything else. The other started and no one or the and no one or the no adjustments along the way. Intentional choices function like a compass. They may not eliminate uncertainty, but they prevent you from being swept along by whatever current happens. It doesn't mean when you choose that, when you are working with an agenda, you eliminate every uncertainty. No. But it prevents you from being swept along by whichever current happens to be the strongest. So bibi ebe ede ne ho bebe bia say this is the order of the day, no di achieve because there's no plan, there is no agenda. Taking responsibility for your choices leads to a deeper sense of agency and self-respect. It is your choice. So regardless of what happens, you stick your neck out and you are able to stand by your decisions than for people to just hand things over to you. When you decide the life you want, you create the framework for evaluating opportunities. So things that might sound as opportunities for everybody, Uba onim say your line. Obi a military, that's not your line. Police Ejima but that's not your line. It might seem opportunity to a lot of people and your line. But if there's no agenda, bibi a better say course be an oko. Or we school teacher training or more allowance into no copy, whereby you don't have the hearts for teaching. Oh, nursing training so no copy because you man alawa, no call, and then you end up becoming a frustrated nurse. Oh, lawyer if a pan no call law school, no we and what would you be? And because there's no agenda, we can't evaluate opportunities, even relationships and challenges. Everything we just embrace, everything we just accept. That is the order of the day. That looks so safe. That looks so, glamorous for the time being. Then people jump on board. Instead of reacting to whatever comes your way, you respond based on what aligns with your direction. That is if you're working with an agenda. A student who decides they want to work in environmental science may choose internships, volunteer experiences, or research projects that build toward that future. Wahyehyɛ abrabɔ no asi so. Right from university, right from SHS. Their choices reinforce each other. Nti biribi a ɔde abrabɔ no yɛ biara yɛ deɛ build upon themselves. Their choices reinforce each other. And over time, they create momentum. Until she had 5 years, we say, what happened? And you think they got lucky? No. They were working on agenda. They were working with an agenda. So every choice, every decision reinforced each other. Their choices reinforced each other. And over time, they create momentum. Even if the path is difficult, they know why they're on that path. This clarity becomes a source of strength, especially when the world tries to pull them in different direction. They are the people who are able to, break through every distraction because they have an agenda they are working with. Especially when the world tries to pull them in different directions. By choosing intentionally, they build a life that feels coherent rather than accidental. Until one of the better no, ɛyɛ abrabɔ ɔno ankasa ahyehyɛ. Ɔno ankasa ahyehyɛ. And yes, I will go through robotic life when you're getting ready 60, 70, and that's it. In the end, choosing your life is not about predicting every detail of your future. It's about being awake, being aware, and involved in shaping the direction you want to move. Until you don't just leave the life to chance. You plan it and work at it. If it doesn't work well, you realize it's your life, so you have the right to make a change. You don't just sit down and leave your life to chance. Oh, hi, Apostle. Thank you for being on. You don't just live your life to chance. You have an agenda you are working with. So even if somebody is helping you, the person is helping you build your agenda. Because in our part of the world, if you're not careful, another distraction to is when people want to mold you into who they want you to be, not supporting you to become who you want to be. But without any agenda, anybody can come and turn you into who they want you to be. But if you have an agenda for your life, even if people want to help you, they are helping you pursue that agenda of yours. So when you meet these people, either they went through the same university or started the career at the same level, you realize within a state of 5 years, the difference is crystal clear. The difference is crystal clear. One of them just left the life to chance. The other to be an attorney. The other will had an agenda he or she was working with. Their results won't be the same. Which you almost 5 years and you assess their results, we won't say no. They were all not coming from the same direction. Although they worked at the same place, they finished the same university, they had the same beginning, but one just left their life to chance. One had an agenda they were working with. And because one had an agenda, it made them eliminate a lot of distractions. They eliminate a lot of distractions. But agenda be anywhere, and you are living life to just chance. You fight unnecessary battles. Surround yourself with a lot of distractions because you don't know where you are going. So you are just running in circles. Wokwa no wasan wachi na wako. So people think you are just busy, but you are not being productive. So choosing your life is not about predicting every detail of your future. It's about being awake, being aware, and involved in shaping the direction you want to move. Letting the world choose for you may feel easier in the moment, but often leads to frustration, confusion, and regret. Those who don't plan their lives leave their life to chance. In the beginning, it will be easier because you avoid that responsibility of you fighting and working your own life. But when you hit 50 and beyond, after 60, when you look back, it will just be frustration, confusion, and regret. Regret because you can say that this is not the life you wanted to live. You realize this is not the life you chose. It is just frustration, confusion, and regret. But then you have already wasted this life. Energy is down. As you move through high school or early adulthood, it is worth asking yourself, anytime you have the awareness that this is not the life I want, it is worth asking yourself, what do I want my life to stand for? What do I want my life to stand for? Regardless of the noise around me, what do I want my life to stand for? What choices reflect who I am becoming? Some people start so beautifully, but they're not able to embrace who they are becoming. So they get frustrated and get back to their becoming, get back to their beginning. What choices reflect who I am becoming? Because the choices that got you here will not be the same choices that will get you there. But if we don't periodically pause to ask ourselves these questions, we'll only be running in circles. We can never be productive. The world will think we are moving, but as a matter of fact, we are just running in circles. There is no compass. The answers may evolve. If we periodically ask ourselves these questions, the questions may evolve, but the act of asking places us in the driver's seat of our own lives. The more we ask ourselves these questions, the more our brain gives us answers as to how we will be in charge of our own lives. Your life will be shaped either by the decisions or by the decisions we avoid. We all know the decisions we make will shape our lives. Now it has even become a cliche. Our lives are shaped by the decisions we make, yes. It is also shaped by the decisions we avoid, yes. Our lives are equally shaped by the decisions we avoid, by the responsibility we refuse to take. So our lives will be shaped either by the decisions we take or by the decisions we avoid. When a lot of people know what they are supposed to do, but they are not ready to embrace, to accept that responsibility of taking those choices, your life would also be shaped by the decisions you avoid. If we don't choose the life we want, others, teachers, significant others, family, society, even religion, or chance will gladly choose the life for us. Their choices, however, it doesn't matter how intentioned, cannot replace our own choices. The responsibility and the privilege is ours. The responsibility and the privilege is ours. So let's begin now. Choose with intention, act with clarity, and build a life that reflects our voice rather than the noise around us. If you are not happy with the way your life is going, please understand that you can reinvent it, regardless of your age, you can reinvent your life. Yes. Regardless of your age, you can reinvent your life. Choose ye therefore how you want your life to go. And our God, the universe, will give you the support you need to reinvent your life. So, yes, if you're not happy with your life, sorry, my internet, you can reinvent your life anytime. Anytime you have the awareness that this is not the life I want, you can reinvent your life. It is the responsibility that a lot of people are running away from. We are supposed to grow, become better. Every living organism is supposed to grow. Can you hear me, please? You can reinvent your life anytime. If you are not happy with your life, any aspect of your life, your finances, your love life, your marriage, your health, you can reinvent your life anytime. Happiness is not a luxury. It is a fundamental part of what makes life meaningful. While no one experiences constant joy, each of us deserves a life that feels aligned with who we are and who we hope to become. Yet many people stay stuck in routines, environments, or identities that no longer reflect their values. They get stuck. They tell themselves it's too late to change. Who said it's too late? Until we give out our last breath. Every one of us can change. We can learn. We can relearn. We can unlearn anytime. So why do we tell ourselves it's too late to change? We can become anyone we want to. People tell themselves it's too late to change, as if you are telling your soul it's too late to become better. It is too risky to begin again, or too selfish to choose a different path. Says who? But the truth is simple. If you're not happy with your life, you can reinvent it. If you're not happy with your health, your finances, your love life, you can reinvent it. You can reinvent any aspect of your life anytime. We are created in the image and likeness of God, and we can learn anytime and grow, become better anytime we get the awareness that this is not the life I want. So, why do we get stuck in life? Reinvention is not an escape from reality. Reinvention is not an escape from reality. It is a conscious decision to build a life that serves your growth rather than suppressing it. Imagine if you're a parent, just imagine that you have a child after going through pregnancy, especially if you're a woman, after going through 9 months pregnancy, getting into the labor ward. Now, I will baby fee, and after 1 year, 2 years, this child is not able to even take the first step to even say, Mommy, how would you feel? And that is it. If we don't grow and become better, then we get stuck. But every living organism is supposed to grow and become better. It's like a cocoon asking a caterpillar, a butterfly, you have changed. And the butterfly turning back and asking the cocoon, we are all supposed to grow. We are supposed to grow and become better. Why do we take delight in still being fed with breast milk when we are supposed to be chewing bones? Reinvention is not an escape from reality. It is a conscious decision to build a life that serves your growth rather than suppresses it. To reinvent one's life means to question long standing assumptions. The long standing assumptions, we have to question and interrogate them. Why do we do what we do? When we are not excited about our results and we continually doing the same thing, is it not insanity to do the same things and expect different results? So to reinvent one's life means to question long-standing assumptions, interrupt interrupt patterns that no longer work. And we know these things. We can lie to everybody, we can't lie to ourselves. We have to interrupt patterns that no longer work and create space for new possibilities. Albert Einstein said that it's insanity to do the same thing and expect different results, but invariably that's how we live in. The robotic way. We don't want any change, we don't want it to, and yet we want our lives to get better. How would that happen? Reinvention is neither impulsive or reckless, it is intentional. It begins with honesty and an unfiltered look at what is not working. You just sit down and assess your life and ask yourself questions. What is not working? And these things we know. It begins with honesty, an unfiltered look at what is not working. Many people skip this step because acknowledging this dissatisfaction can feel uncomfortable or disloyal to the past. So we put the public facade that all is well when your soul knows nothing is well. Clarity is a prerequisite for change. If we can't be truthful with our own self, chances are we can never grow and become more. We cannot rebuild what we refuse to examine. It's like having a shop, a store, a business that you don't take stock. How would you become better? How would you know whether you are making losses or you are making profits? Once clarity is achieved, reinvention becomes an active process. Once you know what is not working in your life, it makes it easier for you to now find how you'll be able to make them work. Once clarity is achieved, reinvention becomes an active process. One practical strategy is to identify the smallest area where change is possible right now. The smallest area. Reinvention rarely starts with dramatic leap. So be kodana additional sorena, all of a sudden growth has taken place, the health has changed, the marriage has changed, the love life has changed, the finances has changed, then it was magic. That is not reinvention. Reinvention takes time. It rarely starts with dramatic leaps. It starts with a single decision that shifts your direction. If your career drains your motivation, obi sorry adware no pa kwa adwuma kora na yasem, and yet why yes adwuma 10 years, don't you know you are killing your soul without doing anything about it? If your career is draining your motivation, reinvention may begin not with resignation, but with exploring new skills, taking courses, or speaking to people in field that interest you, or even looking for a better opportunity in that same career, or starting your own business. The doctor who works at somebody else's hospital and the doctor who built the hospital, they are not all the same. Speaking to people in that field the field that interests you, changing jobs. The job is draining your motivation for life. And yet, it's not like it even pays you well. From hand to mouth, yeah, and yet you are dying. You are being disrespected for that same words. Money that can't even take care of you. Instead of looking for another job, starting a side hustle, doing something else, and your motivation is just drained. Reinvention may begin not with resignation, but with exploring new skills, taking courses, or speaking to people in fields that interest you, changing that job. If your relationships feel stagnant, reinvention may start with setting healthy boundaries or being more intentional about the people you spend time with. The people you pour into who have no plans of pouring back into you. They just want to take and take and take and reinvention that area will mean setting healthy boundaries. Finding people equally pour into you so you pour into them also. People will be there for you, then you are there for them too. We don't have a second life to live that you waste your life, waste your resources, waste your time and your energy on ungrateful people. People who use you and dump you like you never mattered. People want you to serve them without any plans of servicing your life. What is the meaning of that? Reinvention may start with setting healthy boundaries in your relationships or being more intentional about the people you spend your time with. If your lifestyle feels uninspired, reinvention may begin with adjusting your routines. Your life has become too robotic. Reinvention may begin with adjusting these routines, investing in new habits, or redefining what you want your days to look like. We have so much power and control, but we are living as if we don't and living our lives to chance. If your lifestyle feels uninspired, reinvention may begin with adjusting your routines, investing in new habits, or redefining what you want your days to look like. As simple as that. These are practical things any of us can inculcate into our daily lives. A second strategy is to build an environment that supports the person you want to become. Build an environment that supports the person you want to become. Coming closer with like minded people. Have you read the book Surrounded by Idiots? It doesn't mean that people are technically idiots, but sometimes you look around you and the people around you, and then you wonder why your life is not making any progress. A second strategy is to build an environment that supports the person you want to become. The people you knew who you used to be, who are refusing to support who you want to become. Why are you still stuck with them? They are draining your motivation for life. As long as you want to be with them, you can never support your becoming. And it is your life we're talking about. So why do you throw your life away in the name of belonging? If the environment can support the person you want to become, what business do you have to fit in there? If the community can support you want to become, what business do you have to fit in there? Trying to fit. Somebody sent me something that was so beautiful. Tangerine that was exposed, and they have put garlic to occupy one of the spaces, and garlic and tangerine will never fit. For the fact that you can fit in beautifully into that space doesn't mean you belong there. You have upgraded your beliefs, your mindset, and your paradigms, and you are still stuck with people who are refusing to grow. You would frustrate yourself in this life, and you have nothing to do with the devil. People often underestimate how much their surroundings shape their mindset. A cluttered space, a discouraging social circle, or an overwhelming schedule can make reinvention feel impossible. creating supportive environment, whether that means joining a community of like-minded individuals, redesigning your workspace, or scheduling time for reflection can make transformation feel not only achievable but natural. You inculcate this into your routine, your daily lifestyle, such that it becomes an aspect of you. Doing them becomes natural, normal to you, and yet you are growing and changing. Reinvention also requires patience. It wouldn't happen overnight. The people you see them when you think they are lucky, if only you get closer to them and they tell you how long it's taking them to get to this level, you realize they were not as lucky as you thought. Reinvention requires patience. Change rarely happens in a straight line. Sometimes you fall and you rise again. There will be periods of uncertainty, self doubt, and slow progress. They are still progress, they are still part of the journey. Reinvention is not measured by speed, it is measured by direction. As a matter of fact, direction is more important than speed. It is measured by direction, not speed. Even small, steady steps can eventually lead to profound transformation. Consider the case of someone like Amina, let's put the name there. Amina, put any name there. That at 29, he said had a stable job, a predictable routine, and a life that looks successful from the outside. Yet she felt disconnected. And that's the story of a lot of people. When you look at them from outside, it looks like everything is all put together. A stable job, a beautiful marriage, and yet they feel so disconnected because that job is unfulfilled. That relationship is meaningless. It's unmeaningful. It's meaningful. It's meaningless. And struggling with this sense that they merely survive each day. And yet we look at how polished they are. After months of ignoring this unhappiness, finally, people come into the realization, acknowledging that life needs to change. And those who embrace this truth, it doesn't matter how long they've stayed in this dysfunctionality, they're able to reinvent themselves. You can't stay in unhappiness and still expect your body, soul, and spirit to align. There will be dissonance somewhere. So sometimes you don't have to quit everything at once. Instead, you make small strategic shifts. Little, small strategic shifts. Taking in some classes in something you admire to do, but you never got the privilege to do it. Volunteering on weekends to gain experience in something. Reaching out to mentors who offer guidance and encouragement. Within a year or two, when you sit back and assess your life, you realize change has taken place, growth has taken place inside. And you get to a time you can't hide this growth because it would show on you. Within 2 years, you'll be able to transition into a new career that aligns with your passion for helping others, your passion for building your finances, your passion for becoming the best version of yourself. So the external details of your life will change. And more importantly, your inner landscape would also shift. You feel purposeful, energized, and connected to your values. So reinvention is not magical, it is deliberate. Reinvention is not reserved for the extraordinary. It is available to anyone willing to choose differently. What separates people who transform their lives from those who stay stuck is not talent or luck, but the willingness to disrupt familiar patterns and imagine something greater. If you imagine how greater your life can be, once you are able to reinvent it, it makes everything easier to go through. Reinvention also invites reflection about identity. Who are you outside of expectations? Yes, who are you outside of expectations? What dreams have you postponed because life pulled you in another direction? When you strip away the noise of obligations and fear, what, what kind of life feels true to you? These questions are not meant to create pressure. No, they are meant to open doors. Reinvention begins the moment you allow yourself to consider that a better version of your life is possible. Your finances, your health, your love life, yes, a better version of yourself is possible. If you are not happy with your life, you have the power and the permission to reinvent it. Reinvention does not require abandoning everything you know. It requires choosing step by step what deserves to stay and what needs to change. What needs You have the power and the permission to reinvent your life. You don't need to abandon everything you know. You just have to choose step by step what deserves to stay and what needs to change. You owe yourself a life that reflects your hopes, your strength, and your evolving identity, who you are becoming. You owe yourself a life that reflects your hopes, your strength, and your evolving identity. The path may be gradual, uncertain, and imperfect, but it is yours, and you have one life to live. Taking the first step may just lead you to a version of yourself you have been waiting to meet. The first step. Taking the first step might just lead you to a version of yourself you have been waiting to meet. All you need is to take that baby step. The right decision with the next right decision and the next right decision, and you are reinventing yourself little by little. So let this video be the nudge you needed. Let today be the moment you stop settling for what is familiar and begin building what is fulfilling. Let this video be the wake-up call you needed, the reminder you needed to reinvent your life, because it's possible, because you deserve it, and because you have the capacity to reinvent your life. Whatever area of your life you are not excited about, you can reinvent it. Your finances, your health, your love life, your marriage, whatever aspect of your life you are not happy about, you can reinvent it. Until I come your way again in my next video, I say much love and blessings. In the comment section there, get interactive, get engaging. Let me equally hear from you. Thank you for being on. Those of you are on. Madam Apostle, thank you. Eze, thank you so much for being on. Until I come your way again in our next video, I say much love and blessings. See you at the top, because reinvention is our portion.